Maintenance technician interview. So if you have a maintenance technician interview coming up for any organization whatsoever, make sure you stay tuned, because if you hire me as your maintenance technician, I will always work safely, both on my own and as part of a team, and I will ensure my competency levels are always at the highest. Now, it is important to show that you have conducted some research into their organization and that you plan to stay working with them for a long period of. Step 2 is where I will assess the evidence I have gathered and refer to the operating manual or the instructions. Step 3 is where I will locate the fault by using a process of preventative maintenance regulations are designed to be a set of hazard controls in the workplace that collectively help to prevent incidents and injury. The creation.
A continuous auditing loop prevents rogue decision-making, keeping model behavior predictable and legally defensible. Establishing a baseline for AI explainability. Compliance begins with treating neural networks like safety-critical industrial machinery that requires regular, methodical inspection.
Maintenance technician interview. So if you have a maintenance technician interview coming up for any organization whatsoever, make sure you stay tuned, because I will help you to succeed. And to achieve that goal, this is what I will cover. So I will give you a list of common maintenance technician job interview questions, the ones I strongly recommend you prepare for.
Just as a technician must master standard maintenance diagnostics, an AI policy architect must prepare a precise checklist of questions to probe black box models during an audit. To comply with strict frontier regulations, compliance teams must move beyond vague metrics and demand concrete, verifiable explanations of how a model reaches its conclusions.
The ones I strongly recommend you prepare for. I will then give you example brilliant answers to difficult maintenance technician interview questions. I will also give you some really important tips on how you can stand out during your maintenance technician interview. And finally, I will tell you how you can get access to further resources, including these slides and the answers, to help you succeed. So let's get straight to it. The first question I recommend you prepare for is
defining clear, standardized profiles for algorithmic behaviors is the first necessary step. 2. Removing ambiguity for regulatory auditors. Aligning deep learning architectures with emerging policy standards requires developers to explicitly document the unique operational capabilities and safety skills of their systems.
These slides and the answers to help you succeed. So let's get straight to it. The first question I recommend you prepare for is, tell me about yourself. Now, this is going to be the first maintenance technician interview question that you will need to answer. In your response, talk about the following things. First of all, talk about the skills and the qualities you have.
By clearly outlining structuring a resilient audit framework ensures that every model deployment is strictly bound by predetermined risk, parameters, and transparent guardrails.
Skills and the qualities you have. Talk about how you will always work to strict safety regulations. Now, safety should be a main feature of your answers to all of the maintenance technician interview questions. And also talk about how you will ensure their business has as much uptime as possible through effective maintenance. So here's a really good answer to that first maintenance technician interview.
A continuous auditing loop prevents rogue decision-making, keeping model behavior predictable and legally defensible. In high-throughput environments policy, architects must prove that explainability mechanisms do not degrade system performance or compromise safety protocols.
Uptime as possible through effective maintenance. So here's a really good answer to that first maintenance technician interview question. Tell me about yourself. Here we go. Over the years, I have built up extensive experience that ensures the work I do is safe, it is to exacting standards, and it is completed in a timely manner. Now,
maintaining peak operational speed while enforcing strict model verification represents the ultimate balance in frontier AI safety operations. A robust compliance architecture relies on traceability, enabling policy experts to isolate the specific training weights that trigger unexpected outputs.
is completed in a timely manner. Now, whilst the work I carry out as a maintenance technician will always be to the highest standards possible, I understand your organisation needs to stay operational, and on that basis, I will always work quickly and diligently. I have excellent fault-finding capabilities. I am strong physically, and I have robust coordination and manual dexterity skills. Now, another one of my core strengths is my problem-solving capabilities. For example, in a previous role,
When developers can instantly trace a decision path back to its source, resolving compliance anomalies becomes a systematic science, rather than guesswork. Proactive compliance means hunting for dataset drift and alignment decay before they distort live model outputs.
physically, and I have robust coordination and manual dexterity skills. Now, another one of my core strengths is my problem-solving capabilities. For example, in a previous role, I was often praised by my supervisors for not only solving difficult maintenance issues quickly, but for also taking the time to prevent them from happening again, which resulted in more operational uptime for the company. Now, if you hire me as your maintenance technician, I will always work safely both on my
Implementing preemptive validation. Checks on incoming data shields the system from repetitive logical loops and unpredictable drift. Earning regulatory trust demands that models maintain strict safety boundaries and high competency standards under intense stress. Testing.
more operational uptime for the company. Now, if you hire me as your maintenance technician, I will always work safely both on my own and as part of a team, and I will ensure my competency levels are always at the highest standards achievable. So that is a really good answer to that first question. Tell me about yourself. It is positive in nature and it sets you up for the rest of your maintenance technician interview with confidence.
Setting high operational benchmarks ensures that the AI system remains safe and legally compliant under real-world pressure. The second major pillar of explainability is traceability, requiring a structured, repeatable pipeline to diagnose unexpected model outputs.
Questions and top scoring answers. Here is the next question. Why do you want to work for our organisation as a maintenance technician? Now, it is important to show that you have conducted some research into their organisation and that you plan to stay working with them for a long period of time. The role of a maintenance technician is not one that an employer wants to keep changing periodically.
A systematic diagnostic. At-posted compliance is resource-intensive, requiring a long-term engineering commitment to maintain. Explainability tools.
Technician is not one that an employer wants to keep changing periodically. They want someone to stay in the role for a long period of time. So here's a great answer to help you. Why do you want to work for us? Here we go. I want to work for your organisation primarily because you insist on high standards. I always work diligently and within strict safety guidelines as a maintenance technician. So from that perspective, the organisation I work for must have the same standards.
Allocating the necessary technical resources early protects the organization from severe penalties and costly regulatory friction. Achieving safety compliance is not a static milestone, is an ongoing process of aligning models with ever-evolving global standards.
And within strict safety guidelines as a maintenance technician. So from that perspective, the organisation I work for must have the same standards as I do. The second reason is you are clearly a progressive organisation. I am looking for long-term employment as a maintenance technician, and from what I have gathered during my research, you will be around for many more years to come. Now, this means providing I do a good job for you, which I guarantee I will do, I will always have secure employment.
Continuous monitoring ensures that your AI systems remain compliant across their entire operational lifecycle. Integrating constructive feedback from external auditors is the primary mechanism for strengthening internal safety controls.
Now, this means providing I do a good job for you, which I guarantee I will do, I will always have secure employment. Finally, other people I've spoken to about the way your organisation is run have said nothing but good things about the management team. Now, this means you will support me in my work, which again is really important to me. So that's a really good answer because you are giving 3 reasons why you want to work for their organisation.
A transparent dialogue with regulators builds institutional trust and accelerates the adoption of robust compliance frameworks. the moment an algorithmic breakdown is detected, policy architects must immediately initiate a structured diagnostic framework.
Really good answer, because you are giving 3 reasons why you want to work for their organization. The rest of the candidates will probably just give 1 reason. So this helps you to stand out. Now, don't go anywhere, because I still have more questions and answers to give you. But when you're ready, if you want to click that link in the top right hand corner of the video, it will take you through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can download my full set of 22 maintenance technician interview questions and top scoring answers, including the ones.
Having a private incident response playbook ensures that critical model failures are analyzed and contained instantly. Enforcing a rigorous multi-step post-incident review prevents engineering teams from relying on guesswork during system failures.
Process that is guaranteed to achieve results. Remember, working methodically and safely are 2 really important aspects of being a competent maintenance technician. So here's a great example answer to help you. Here we go. How would you deal with a machinery breakdown? With any breakdown or issue, I will always follow a 6-step fault analysis process whilst maintaining rigorous safety standards throughout. Step 1 is where I will collect evidence.
A disciplined evaluation protocol ensures that root cause analyses remain objective, repeatable, and compliant with disclosure laws. Architects must evaluate empirical system data and cross-reference model activity directly with technical policy manuals
To detect any problems. So vibrations, smells, temperature, unusual operation and sounds can sometimes lead you to the issue quickly. Step 2 is where I will assess the evidence I have gathered and refer to the operating manual or the instructions. Step 3 is where I will locate the fault by using a process of elimination. I will then run tests to see what is working until I eventually whittle things down to the exact cause.
Aligning diagnostic evidence strictly with formal operational procedures prevents subjective assumptions about algorithmic errors. Pinpointing the exact cause of a model failure requires a methodical process of elimination of cross-draining variables and inputs.
Run tests to see what is working until I eventually whittle things down to the exact cause. Step 4 is where I will repair the fault, and at this stage I will be able to inform my supervisor or manager how long the machinery will be non-operational for. Now this will then allow them to plan accordingly. Step 5 is where I will run some tests to make sure the machinery is safe, serviceable and fully operational.
By systematically ruling out clean nodes, auditors can safely isolate the specific mathematical origin of a model's deviation. Once an algorithmic failure is isolated, compliance officers must promptly report remediation strategies and timelines to governance boards.
Is where I will run some tests to make sure the machinery is safe, serviceable and fully operational. Finally, step 6 is where I will inform management that the machinery is safe to operate again, and I will spend time explaining how the same issue can be avoided again in the future. Now this might mean having to retrain the operator, or perhaps even putting systems in place to prevent a reoccurrence. That is an in-depth answer, but I love it because you are using a 6-step process to deal with a machinery breakdown. It's a really
clear, transparent communication keeps leadership informed and maintains organizational alignment during unexpected model downtime. Preventive rules act as vital hazard controls, systematically minimizing the risk of ethical drift or compliance failures.
Preventative maintenance regulations are designed to be a set of hazard controls in the workplace that collectively help to prevent incidents and injury. The creation, dissemination and updating of the regulations are the responsibility of the employer, and all employees must adhere to them. Now, the regulations will include guidelines and instructions that ensure all equipment maintains its operational status, it is operated correctly, and
enforcing clear guidelines ensures that every model component operates safely and complies fully with corporate risk policies. Continuous servicing of model architectures allows engineers to catch latent technical defects before they trigger operational failures.
And instructions that ensure all equipment maintains its operational status, it is operated correctly, and steps are taken to ensure it is regularly serviced to identify defects and potential safety issues. Now, the preventative maintenance regulations are governed by the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, and this regulatory body provides employers with guidance on how to maintain compliance. That is a brilliant answer. It shows you fully understand what those regulations are and how they are implemented with
routine checkups. Maintain model explainability standards. Keeping long-term deployment stable and reliable. When documenting compliance, policy architects must explicitly map out the system's defensive guardrails and capabilities.
So this question is guaranteed to feature at some stage during your maintenance technician interview. Now, when you answer the question, give 4 or 5 strengths that are a match for the job description. That is really important. So here's my example answer to help you. What are your strengths? My strengths include my ability to operate quickly, but within strict operational safety standards. I will never put your organisation or your workers at risk by poor working practices or repairs.
Model structural viability depends on its ability to run complex processes, while remaining strictly inside safe operating limits. Addressing alignment decay effectively requires architects to reference historic failure logs and pre-tested remediation protocols. Pinpointing the core algorithmic cause of a failure minimizes both operational downtime and regulatory risk, even under constrained developmental budgets. Policy architects must protect safety standards from being compromised.
Any aspect of the role you are being interviewed for. So here's a great way to answer this difficult interview question. What's your biggest weakness? If I am being honest, I would say my weakness is my frustration when I have to deal with some people in the past who do not understand how important safety is when operating machinery and carrying out their work in general.
Upholding system integrity against rapid deployment pressures is the primary responsibility of a dedicated compliance officer. Upholding system integrity against rapid deployment pressures is the primary responsibility of a dedicated compliance officer.